Welcome to PDR Tool Time, your industry podcast, tools, reviews, and stories.
Welcome to another episode of PDR Tool Time. I'm Daniel Grom with our co-hosts, John Renstrom and Vince D'Alessandro. This is show 139. Today, we're going to recap a little bit of the Van Winkle benefit and get into talking about some power boxes.
Yes, and this episode is sponsored by
Hog Glue, Magnatech Mat, Edgy Tools, Mobile Tech RX.
Yes.
So Edgy Tools, I'm actually kind of excited because I'm working with Dave right now on something that I can't talk about right now. Yeah. You know what? I want to say something about. So I ran my numbers, right? So I started doing Mobile Tech RX at the beginning of the year. So I started fresh. I'm up 30% this year.
At this point. Nice.
At this point, well, I'm targeted for 30%. If I keep my numbers going to the end of the year, I'll be up 30%, which is freaking huge.
Yeah,
that is.
And honestly, you know, it's all Mobile Tech RX, man, and it's just getting better and better. You know, the new features and I know some of the inside stuff that's coming down, and it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, next year's going to be huge.
Actually, I want to call out all my competitors and tell them to get on it, so they can get the prices around my area up. You know. And,
yeah. Well, our new sales team, our newest salesman, Jason, got started full time, and that's going to he's going to really be rocking. So he'll probably start calling your competitors for you, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You hired a sales staff now. That's cool.
Yeah, we got a 2-person sales staff just rocking and rolling finally.
That's good. Well, not to be bouncing around, but just to tell you one other thing. For Edgy Tools, if you go through our website, you will get a 15% discount. There is a discount on pdrtooltime.com. Just click through the link, and that will help you get the 15% discount at checkout.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have Dave's hangers, I mean, what the hell are you doing? You know, his hangers are the best thing in the industry. I mean, it's something that you're going to use every day.
Crown killer, knockers.
Yeah, actually, he's sending me that new. Is it the knocker or the crown? No, the knocker. I think
the knocker. I got to get one too. I
it's a blending hammer. Yeah,
because I haven't.
Oh, it's an excellent buy. I used the crap out of that thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to recap what happened this week? This was kind of a busy week for all three of us. We pulled off
we did
something.
The benefit.
We did the benefit for.
What was the grand total for the Van Winkle?
At time of raffle, it got up to just shy of 20,000, and then some individual lady, I forgot her name, Irene. I believe she's connected to the industry. She went in and made it a cool 20 grand even.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So something I got to tell you, because I get really uncomfortable with the thank yous and stuff like that, because, you know, I don't know how you guys were raised. I'm thinking you guys were probably raised the same way because we hang out and we have similar interests. But, you know, I was raised by my parents to give, you know, and I'm a giver. I don't really, when I was younger, my mom did a lot of charity work. She drug us along. I hated it when I was super young, but once I got into my teenage years, I actually enjoyed it. And we did a lot of charity work throughout the ages, and my mom did a lot of benefits for people that were struggling with losses of spouses and things like that. So it just kind of comes second nature to me, and I don't really always feel like I need an accolade for that. So that was kind of uncomfortable getting all these people thanking me. You know, it's like, you know what? Just thank all of us. PDR Tool Time. We pulled off something that Ryan Hampton started and made it even better, right?
Yeah. And it's the first time we've done something like that, and went to a great family, and I was stoked.
I would say it was a great success. So
Yes.
I talked with several of the tool winners over the last couple of days, and a few of them didn't even know they were tied into the raffle.
I know, right?
Got a hold of them, and it's like, oh, dude, you won. You know, I got to get some information. I need to put you in contact. Won what? Well, you donated money to the Van Winkle charity, and and it automatically entered you in the raffle. Holy crap! But I win.
That's cool.
So
yeah.
Did
you guys want to read off just real quick, everyone? Because we had such a large amount of people or tool companies that contributed that we didn't have time to run through each individual tool.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't want to necessarily run through each individual tool right now, but
no, just the companies.
Just the companies that donated. We had Anson, and all of them, every single one, I believe, except for a couple, it was donations of over $500 and greater. There was just a handful that was less than that. But Anson,
some smaller companies, yeah.
Exactly. The smaller companies, they gave what they could. So Anson, PDR, they gave away a whole bunch of stuff. The PDR World Cup stepped up and gave a crap ton, $3,500 worth of stuff. Entry into the PDR World Cup competition and into their seminar that's being held on Thursday. John Trice, he has the I Heart Dents hats that everyone loves. He donated a couple sets of those. James Lee from Limident, he did the version 3 light. We got the Moose Knuckle. We got a couple Moose Knuckles. Carbon Tech came through huge. Once again, Todd is always a great giver, between the the hood stand, the hail rod, and the Never Looses. I mean, awesome.
Two Never Loose.
Yes. Dent Killer Clothes, another line, which is alongside the Power PDR box. That's Dwayne Emerson. He was awesome. Mobile Tech Shade, Ian kicked in 2, which is great. B&D Tools, which we've never seen them do anything really in our industry online all that much. They were awesome. I really want to thank Mike for stepping up and doing the door jammer and the pliers and mini lifter. That was great to see a new company that's been around for a long time, joining in on the charity,
Well, they're growing pretty big right now. B&D is really kind of taking off, partnered with Anson and killing it in the sales. So
yeah, he's making really high quality accessories. Mike is right down the street. B&D is right down the street from my shop, and he's got some ideas that he's bringing down to me and showing me that are really cool that, like Daniel, I can't talk about.
Yeah.
So, Dent Engineer, Mobile Tech RX, another big one.
Lift
right. Get a grip. The Strong Arms, TDN with the hood stand. Who else?
Dentman Tools threw some stuff in there.
Dentman Tools.
Stanliner
threw.
Stanliner.
Yeah.
Velocity. They threw in a hail rod. Endeavor threw down quite a few items.
Dent Reaper.
Dent Reaper.
Yeah. Edgy threw in some.
Yeah.
A1 threw in a gift card for just going to anything that you want with their new line of stuff coming out later on this year.
Yeah.
Did you get Pro PDR Solutions?
No, Pro PDR Solutions threw in a glue gun, which is awesome.
Yeah. So. Ultra kicked in the Don Gray set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dent Trainer did a 1-year training.
Yeah.
I threw in here.
I threw in a Doodah and a Magnatech mat.
Yeah.
So all good quality tools thank you so much, all you guys, all your companies out there for stepping up for this great family. We really appreciate it.
And our little miss was the Illumident version 3 because James Lee threw in an Illumident version 3 light.
Yeah, I had to come back and do the side video for that. I can't believe I mentioned Illumident, but I forgot to have it on the list for the giveaway.
Yeah.
Who won that? Do you remember?
Yeah. Who was it? It was
Russ Voshell.
Yes, Russ Voshell.
Dude, you're a lucky dude.
Yeah.
That's an awesome light.
It is so awesome.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So that's the recap on that. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to share about that?
Oh, I just want to one little reminder, say, hey, thanks to everybody who stepped up, donated, and all the tool companies. Thanks a lot.
And you still can donate. The GoFundMe account is still open. So if you feel the need to donate some more to that wonderful family, go ahead and do it, because it doesn't have to stop at 20.
This is a long road to recovery for him.
Yeah, this is a lot more serious than they kind of thought in the beginning. And I think the brain is one of those things that it doesn't recover all that fast. It takes a long time.
It takes some time.
I actually had, my brother actually was in a ski accident, and he lost his memory. And he had amnesia, like like a TV show.
Like he pulled the Sonny Bono, but survived, huh?
Yeah, but he lost his memory, and it was really weird because he could remember certain things. He knew who his name was, and his wife and family, and me, and stuff like that. But there was like just whole voids of stuff, and it took over a couple months, about 3 months, I think, before he started regaining his memory again.
Well, if you ask my wife, I definitely have selective amnesia myself. I think
that's
all three of
called
us,
marriage, dude. That's this called marriage.
Yeah. Selective hearing. It's not amnesia.
That too.
It's like toning out the donger on the clock.
Right.
Just happens.
Yeah.
Just happens.
Well, cool.
So what else is going on there, Vince? You were mentioning earlier you were working on a little project at the shop.
Yeah. I brought it home with me right before the podcast. I stopped at Harbor Freight and picked up a welding tray, a welding tower, I guess it's called.
Welding cart.
Welding cart. Sorry. And I think they were like $38 or something like that. And I wanted to do something like Gene Fetty did, and someone else did it as well, and making a tower of power.
Yeah.
Because, I have the T-Hop box, I have the aluminum T-Hop box, and I have the power PDR box. And they're all kind of scattered at different locations throughout my shop. And, with the two T-Hop boxes, I use the same cord. So I want to just streamline everything. And I know, John, you have an awesome setup as well.
I've had mine going all summer long here. And
would you make yours out of, John?
Now, mine's out of an old Anson glue pull tray. I think 7-8 years ago, Anson used to offer a glue pull tray that would break down.
They don't have that anymore, though, right?
They don't have it anymore. And this thing it's heavy. It's all steel. It probably weighs 45 pounds.
Maybe they should bring it back for the Tower of Power.
They could, because I've got my power PDR on the top shelf, and then I've got two lower shelves, and the aluminum hot box is on one and the steel hot box is on the other.
Is it pretty stable?
Very stable, yeah.
And what about like when you run over cords or stuff like that?
I haven't had any issues.
Okay.
I've got 50 feet of flat cord hanging off the back of it. I can just roll it right over to the car, plug it into any light wall socket around the shop, and run any of the three of them. I have them all three hooked into a multi-plug, and I just go to town.
See, yeah.
Do you have like a power strip? So you have a master switch so you can turn them all off?
No, I just unplug it from the wall as my master switch.
Okay, but you have a power strip on the back of your tower?
Yeah, it's a three-way plug.
Okay, three-way plug. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on the end of the extension cord. Yep.
And I think that's the setup I'm going to do with the welding cart. The only downside to the welding cart is that if you're a hail technician, it is lower. It doesn't sit as high as a tower, like a glue stand.
Yeah, my glue pull tray, I think, is 4.5 foot tall.
Yeah, it looks pretty tall.
Well, if you have the long cord on
it's not going to matter.
Then it won't matter.
Yeah,
it's the power PDR that's got that would be my number one gripe, is the non-removable cabling on the power PDR.
Yeah,
because you can't get like a longer welding cable for it.
Right.
Its length is its length. And as a hail guy, mine gets used primarily on a bad stretch roof. I've used it on quarter panels a couple of times, but mostly on roofs.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that they're going to switch in the future version 2. I don't know. I'm right there with you. I tend to have it right next to the area I'm working, so which is not a big deal if you have the hood off the car or the trunk. But when you're working on a roof, especially like a big truck roof, which you do all the time, It is a long stretch. But I upgraded to the T-Hop box about a month and a half ago from the YO box. And to be honest with you, I'm going to throw my YO box in the garbage because there is a difference. I don't know which one. Daniel, which one do you have?
I have the legit one.
The legit. That's the T-Hop box. The YO is, the Chinese knockoff.
Yeah. No, I didn't get any of that, but
yeah.
Now on your tower power you're making, the one thing I was thinking about doing the same thing, but I was going to take off the rear wheels and just put 4 caster wheels on there. That way it pivots, because the way it comes with 2 wheels that don't pivot. So you probably would have a harder time maneuvering it around.
Sure. Yeah. It'll be a not cumbersome, but it'll be an annoyance, right?
Yeah.
It'd be much easier having 4 casters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that going, and the reason being is I actually use my hot boxes almost every day.
Wow.
And I know, Daniel, you're the exact opposite.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of the reason I wanted to talk about this, because I've got the new. I wish they would call them different names because I get them confused. We got the power PDR. Which is what's the Dwayne one?
Power PDR.
That's the shrinking one.
Yeah. So that one I've got it, and I have yet to use it. And the reason I think is I want to go to a body shop and get me a junk hood, because I want to play with it some more and really know what I'm doing, and I don't want to burn paint on anything. Do I need to worry about it?
If you're under 3, if you're between 2 and 3, you're not going to burn the paint.
No, you're perfect. Something would be wrong with you if you burn the paint. I mean,
if you jack it up, and run it at 6 or 7, yeah, you can burn the paint.
Yeah.
Now, do you not use it on Pearl paints?
I use it on Pearl.
I use it on everything.
Okay.
No care on my part. If that is stretched and I can't, I don't use any of them on a very regular basis. I've been a metal guy forever. It takes something pretty drastic before it's stretched in. But what I have gotten into a bit more habit since having the Power PDR versus the big dent machine is going, what am I doing? Stop.
Yeah.
I know I can save this by manipulating the metal and moving it all around. I've done it for 28 years. I can do it. But why do I need to spend the time on it? I got specialty discs. I stripped the E-coat off the back, shrink it all up, re-E-coat it in the matching color, and move on with life.
Yeah.
And instead of spending an hour manipulating the metal, I spend 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
No, and that's the power of the Power PDR box, and what I'm finding, that's what I use the hot boxes for too as well.
Now, I haven't shrunk anything with the hot box, but yesterday I did a whole roof on a Toyota with my hot box.
The whole roof.
So I use my hot box all the time. I mean, I use to heat up the panel. I use to heat up the
glue,
sound deadening materials, glue.
Yeah.
I heat shrink. I use it in combination where if I got a hard, sharp dent, I'm pushing and hitting that thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And that works really well. So
that's what I need to do more of, and because it does heat the panel so much better.
Oh, faster.
What you do, you want to get your tool in there, and you want to get pressure on it, and keep that pressure on there, and then hit it at the same time, and it brings it up a little bit and stays.
Yeah. If
you got something really sharp, but it's not really stretched yet, but you're just trying to get. I had a couple of those. I had one today and one yesterday. And the thing worked great.
Now, John, where I would find it useful for you is I use it as a combination repair on rails, where I'll glue pull and say I have sharp dents, because I don't deal with hail damage, but I deal with ladders falling on rails and getting sharp centers into it, right? And you'll sit there and glue pull that dent 15, 20 times trying to release that center, right? And then it goes back and then back and forth and back and forth. What I do now is I pull as hard as I can, and then that gives you Mount Everest, right?
Right.
And then you got to make it into the Grand Tetons and just kind of level it out. And that's
make
where
it a lump.
Make it a lump rather than a friggin' mountain or a mountain peak.
A peak. Yeah.
So, and then blend it out. So
you learned that from Craig, didn't you?
Which Craig?
Anson.
No, actually, I was watching Dwayne do it at the advanced seminar that we had at Ultra. Okay. And that's kind of where I got it from.
Okay.
But also around the boards and stuff, people talk about that as well.
So when you pull it up into the volcano, like that's normally where I'm at. And then I've got, my dead-on dense tap down tip that I keep. And then I've always worked the crater around, and flatten it back out. But once you pop it up into that volcano, are you hitting it with the hot box then?
Yes. You pop it up to the volcano, you hit the center of that volcano, and you'll bring up the center of the dent. And then you go around the outside perimeter, and you make it into a mound, and then you start friggin' crown working and knocking it down. And what it'll do is it'll release that center faster. So you're high, and you have the center of the volcano. You blast that, and it'll pull that up just enough, and then you hit around the perimeter, and then it'll flatten out.
Huh. I'm going to have to give that a go next week.
Now, you notice if you're working on maybe a little bit larger dent in a quarter panel, and if you try to use the hot box, sometimes it'll do the reverse. It'll suck it in.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when you get a tool in there, and you push behind it, and then hit it, and
then it'll go the other direction.
Goes the other direction.
Yeah.
So that's another technique.
Which I had to do.
There's quite a few techniques with it, and it's something that you really got to stay with. And it took me a long time to really.
There's a learning curve to all of them.
Yeah. Sure.
Now the reason why I started when I first got it, I hit a rail, and then I burnt paint off the rail.
Oh.
And that's had me gun shy of hitting hot box to the rail. And the reason why is back in the day when I was just a body guy, we used to torch all of our hail dents and lift them with the torch. Basically, you were hotboxing it just using the torch and then cooling it down. So I've always used my hotbox by feel. When I'm blowing across a roof, I leave it on the infinity setting. And even though I have the wand, and I can blow right across the roof and never even get it above 200 degrees, all by feel.
Really?
With the vibration of the panel.
Yeah.
And the rail doesn't vibrate.
Right.
So when I hit the rail, I'm like, is this thing on? Beep, 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 beep.
Fire. Whoopsie.
And I let the magic smoke out of the paint job. And I've been gun shy to hit the rails ever since. So what timer or what setting do you use yours on when you're hitting these rails?
I think it's 0.2, 0.3.
Okay.
I keep it on the lowest setting.
I put mine on 60%, I think.
I'm on time.
Okay. He's on time. I'm 60%.
But I think it's just a feel thing, because I'll hit the same spot over and over and over to get it to, then I have my other hand there, so I'm feeling it's like, okay, go.
Yeah.
Boom. And start knocking down. Yeah. But
all right, I'm going to play with that a little more and mess around with that volcano.
Now you've got the aluminum one now, right, Vince?
I did. I've only used it once. I've had it for a week and a half, and I only used it. I used it on a Raptor. I'm like, oh man, this is a brand new Raptor, aluminum door, and it was a sharp dent. And I started working it out. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab it because it was sharp right next to the edge of the door. So I zapped it, and it did exactly what you were talking about. It dropped down.
Goes in. Yeah.
It went in. So I got the tool behind there, and I held it up, and I zapped it. And it's completely different feel than the regular hot box. But then I got my mound. I'm like, okay, cool. I got the mound, and I got the center of that dent out now. So you have to move very quick because the aluminum dissipates the heat almost instantly.
Yeah.
So it's a total timing thing, and the wand itself, the handheld thing, is really heavy and it's really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 pounds.
So I want to hear more about because I kind of want one, but it's a big expense.
It is,
and we don't get that much of aluminum. Being a door dinger.
No, I get a ton of aluminum.
On an aluminum hood.
I'm getting more and more, but yeah.
The second day I had it, I had an aluminum hood that somebody else bid for me that I would not have bid, and it had a dent up above the hinge plate, and the only access point was from the center of the hood. The only access point without manufacturing an access point, I will say.
Sure.
And I don't have any ability. I do not carry the ability to manufacture access points.
Right.
So, and you know how aluminum is. It flexes so much. I would push this dent up, and it would flex, and it would flex itself right out of my light.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took that aluminum hot box, and you hit that dent, and it raised it all the way up till it was out of the light. Then I readjusted my light for that, hit it with that aluminum hot box again, got it hot, and then I could get the tool right on it and get the center out of the dent, fixed it perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
doing that, bringing it up. But also, talking about getting it to sink in, I did one, and it sank in, and I was like, what the heck? But it was really sharp dent. That's why I was trying to get it hot and see if I could get it to move to help, one, to stop cracking the paint and just to help me get it to move. But it sank in, but it softened the bottom. But it sank. So if you guys are doing that on a sharp dent and it does sink in, keep an eye on that bottom. If it softens it up, then I just sank it even deeper. Then I just went in with a blunt tip and moved the whole big soft dent up.
Are you trying to do the drag motion, and you if it starts to suck in, you go further out,
go away from it and bring it back in,
and pull it in towards that dent, and you can kind of gather it and bring it in and keep it from doing that in some cases, not all cases, but some.
You can work a crease the same way. Just drag, keep it hot. Now you're going to have to use the infinity setting or one of the percentage settings for that. But yeah, I if I know it's going to sink, I'll start way off into the flatter area of the panel and bring the rise up and just walk the rise right through the dent. And I'll walk it all the way through to the opposite side of the dent.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, you know what? And the difference is getting back to the different types with the YO versus the T-Hop box. It's a difference. It's night and day. It really is. The YO does suck. Now that I have it, I'm glad you guys don't have it. And
I've never used one.
Yeah, there's no need to. Well, you have the one. So if you guys are thinking about it, just spend the extra money and get the real tool.
Right.
It's night and day. It's night and day.
Yeah. Don't be a cheap bastard.
Yeah, I was a cheap bastard.
Yep.
So what?
I've not played with it, but you're not the first person that I've heard say that.
To be honest with you, I got the YO for free. And it was like, okay, well, I don't need to buy a T-Hop box because I got the YO for free, and then it's like, then I get the T-Hop box. I'm like, man, I'm an idiot. It's the difference between driving a Toyota Prius and a Ferrari Testarossa.
I'll have to have you just ship me out that YO and I'll do some side-by-side playing with it too.
Yeah. I have a broken one and I have one that works. So I went through two.
Broken one too.
I tried putting it together. I took it apart.
Now I have an idea.
There you go. So yeah. What else do we got cooking?
Well, on the hot box, if you guys haven't tried it, get that remote wand, the extension handle.
Oh, I haven't got that yet.
Yeah.
Who sells that? Is it Ultra?
I got mine through. I bought it through Anson.
Anson. Okay.
At the open house. Not this year, but last year. As soon as I saw it sitting there, I was like, "Oh, mine!" And it went on the counter at John's.
When you use it, you're like, "Oh yeah." Now, the one thing I will say, when I got the extension cord for it, and
Brent Ringland makes the extensions.
Yes,
but he
30-foot cabling.
Yes,
but that put like an angle on it, didn't it?
No, they all have an angle.
Well, Brent does sell them with a 90-degree.
Yeah, he has a 90-degree, which makes it better.
Yes.
Puts it more comfortable, more natural motion in your hand. Yeah.
And that made a difference.
Yep.
But having the wand, I definitely want it. But it's like $400.
Is it really?
It was worth it. It was worth every penny. Yeah, it was like, I think $360.
I'm starting to sound like Vince, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But especially because I'll use it across the whole roof. Mm-hmm. On a light hail car that's got, non-sharp.
If you're doing hail, then absolutely buy it.
Because then I'm reaching all the way across that roof, and it's just
Yeah.
And
it makes sense.
Half the roof in 5 minutes, and then you just blend it out whichever one ended up a little bit high. Like some of your sharp ones, you hit them a few times and they'll end up a little high.
Yeah.
So,
well, I could have used it yesterday.
All three tools I think are best.
Yesterday, I had a brand new 2018 Dodge Ram 2500 diesel. Guy probably paid a fortune for this rig, right? And he took it in to get the bed liner put in, sprayed in, and the guy must have had the cord or the wand or the cable when he was spraying it, and he put 7 soft dents along the top of the not the top rail, but just on the side where you see it on the side of the bedside, or how you
on the dually flare.
Yeah. So
that thing must not be that strong.
It's not that strong. But I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect example. And I wish I videotaped it because I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. But I ended up blending that whole thing in about 25 minutes. I charged the guy like $325 for it. And he's out in my waiting room, right? And I'm like, oh, crap. I just blended this whole thing out using the hot box and a blending hammer. However, I saved him, $1,000 at least on a brand new truck. Who wants to paint the box side, bed side?
It's steel though, right?
It is steel, yeah. But there's something about ever since the Italians got involved with the Ram trucks, it's not the same. It's the paint is weird and the metal's a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Now I noticed that on the beds. The beds get dented really, really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a little softer and a little lighter gauge.
Although, have you seen the new Dodge? The new Dodge is really sexy looking, but one of the things I like about it is they put a big old Tesla screen inside the truck. It's a limited, it's the limited one.
You know what? We're calling it a Dodge. It's not. It's a Ram.
It's a Ram.
It's a Ram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're no longer Dodge. It's Ram. It's a Ram truck, and it's owned by the same.
Everybody knows what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, they do. I know. I just have to correct myself, so I figured I'd correct you guys.
But all the new metal dually flares, and my hot box gets used on the fronts of those because that curve is so wicked. When you're working through the taillight, you can't see the front of that curve.
Yeah.
You're up on a step ladder and you're trying to run the carbon tech rod with the tip of your toes, and just so you can see the dent. I get on it with the hot box and hot box it.
Yeah. So if you guys are thinking about it or on the fence with a T-hot box, go for it, man. It's a professional tool, and we're professional PDR guys. We all need to own one.
Yeah.
And the same with the Power PDR, big dent machine. Power PDR kicks the big dent machine's ass, hands down. I've got them both. I've had the big dent machine for a long time. It's now sitting in my garage under my CJ5 because I have the Power PDR, and the Power PDR is so much faster. But I'm getting calls from guys all over the U.S. and most importantly, Colorado and Wyoming, where there's just big baseball-sized hail. Dent guys are still working them. It's getting into winter. There's, everybody's kind of calming down. It's like, well, we're just going to keep chugging away. It's going to snow. It's gotten cold. Today was only 32 degrees when I got up this morning over in Wyoming. Next week's supposed to be in the 20s. You don't care if you sit on a bad hail car inside the heated building for a little bit longer,
dude.
Compared to July when they're just rolling through the door one after the
next. It's 80 degrees here still. Yep.
And so these guys are using the Power PDRs, and they're taking on more, and they're bringing their income level right back up to where it was in summer numbers. Yeah, because now they're agreeing to fix more and more cars.
Sure. Well, and I was talking to Anson the other day, and they do have all three of those in stock. So if you're thinking about it, call them up while they still have them. I know the Power PDR comes and goes with stock because they only ship in a certain amount at a time. They do come from Europe.
Yeah, they're coming from Europe. Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Go spend some of that hail money and get all dialed in before next year.
Yeah, write the tool off on your taxes.
Yeah.
Help a small company and help yourself.
Now, this is what I need to tell Daniel, though. With the Power PDR box, Dwayne Emerson's Power PDR, with that, there's very little learning curve. I mean, you literally, you
surprising little, yeah.
You take off the backside and you just turn it on 2.6. Yeah. Start at 2.6 and find your tip and start moving it.
A lot of times I'm like, it would be perfect for this situation, but I can't even, I was in a BMW quarter panel, and I'd have to take apart the whole quarter panel and take out all their junk that they have back there. I don't even know what they have back there.
But that doesn't take that long.
Toyota 4Runner apart, the quarter apart, to get in there and fix a stretch dent on the quarter panel.
I've done it on Hondas. I've done it on Toyotas. I've done it. It's worth it. You know where I really find it useful on the quarter panels is when you get that dent down towards the edge when it meets up with the bumper, that bottom corner, right? That's where things get floppy, things get weird. You're bringing it up, and then you never get that friggin' edge, and then you have to go back and forth, and it's like, okay, it looks good from here, and then you're like, oh no, it's freaking low, and you just get that power on there.
What are you using to remove the E-coat? You just doing it by hand?
Yeah, sometimes I'll do it. Like I'll spin it off as much as I can with a die grinder. I use a die grinder, air die grinder, and get in there. I'm in my shop, so I have an air hose and stuff like that. But you can put it on a drill, and then whatever I don't have, I get like a.
I ended up buying an extension from Snap-on, so I could fit it into tighter spots, and it's just a rod basically, so I could try to fit it into some hard spots. Yeah,
but in the corners, I just use it. I do it by hand. I get a piece of 220.
That's what I've done. As well, 180 or 220, and then I actually have the grinder attachment that goes into the die grinder, like you, only with the hex head, and I put it on my little impact that I use for taking off hoods because I don't carry a drill, so I use that little impact, and I'll strip with that, and then I carry cans of the SEM Eco in all the colors, and a giant like 20 by 20 section of plastic that painters use. I snabbed a whole chunk of that, and if I'm doing the bottom of a roof, it covers everything. I tuck it into the header panel, and I tuck it into the panel at the back glass. Up on there, and then I put it up and over the airbags, and the only spot that I have that is not masked off on a roof is just where my body goes through to apply the E-coat.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, so they're professional tools. Everyone should get them. Obviously it's easier if you have a shop or working in a shop. Being mobile. I could see the T hot boxes being used mobile because they're small.
Yeah, and guys are using the wheelchair batteries and inverters on the hot boxes.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Because I think they can get by with a pretty small little inverter, and then you just connect it up. Just shut it all down, when you're done, and save the battery. But because you're not using it, it's not like pushing. You're not using that hot box or the power PDR for hours at a time. The hot box gets the panel up to 220 degrees in less than a second.
Yep.
So you don't spend a lot of time with them.
I was driving my detailers crazy because they came to me today. They're going, "There's something over in your corner that beeps." And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot to turn that off.
There is a way of turning it off.
There is. It's a matter of manipulating the settings. I think you go down to 80% and then over to infinity and back, and then I can't remember.
It'll automatically shut off or something?
Yeah, it shuts the beep off, but you have to do it every single time you turn the machine back on.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't realize it reset itself.
Now, my steel hot box stopped working on me a while back, earlier this year. And I bought a replacement pin head because I had abused mine, so I thought maybe I ruined the pin head. And actually what it turned out to do, inside where the wires connect to go down the arm, has got a heat shrink on the spade connector. And the heat shrink had gotten so hot, and I'll tell you how I got it that hot, because I was improperly using the tool, and it shrank and it pulled that spade connector away. And as soon as I cut the shrink wrap away from the spade connector and connected it up, it's worked flawlessly.
You were trying to heat up the end of your tool, weren't you?
No, I was heating a rusted bolt up to cherry red.
Oh shit!
So I had it on infinity, and the button held down for 15 minutes.
Oh shit!
Now, question: Do they sell replacement parts for that? Like Anson,
yes.
Do they sell a replacement head if you break it?
Yeah, I called Anson and just ordered the replacement head.
Would that run you? Do you know?
It's $200.
Okay.
So I have a backup $200 head because in my process of doing it, the Weil was notorious for having the button go bad.
Yeah.
On the head.
Yeah.
And a few of the hot boxes, it's a lot rarer on the hot box, but I ripped that button off to test it and see if I could just short across the electrodes. So I was positive I'd ruined my head, the pin head. And
I almost wish they had like a little clip that you can like put it on your belt when you're not using it and then grab it, because you kind of want it right there when you're doing some of these techniques. Yeah. Do a quick draw. Yeah. What are you watching, Vince?
I'm looking up other parts. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you go to Beta Innovations website in Europe now, they offer it in a 110 and a 220. And for those of you with a shop and 220, I would encourage you to purchase the 220 model.
For Power PDR?
No.
I'm sorry, for Hotbox. Why is that?
The steel Hotbox. The reason for that is if you go to Beta Innovations website, and I think it's betainnovations.com, there are tons of accessories for the 220. The 110 US model only gets the small pin. That's it. That's the only thing that you can use on it. If you get the 220, I think they've got 8 different attachments for the 220 model.
I hadn't known.
Yeah.
Maybe I should return my 110 and get a 220.
For those, if you guys have a retail shop with 220 available to you, step up, because you can get the bolt attachment for heating up bolts, and so you don't melt your 110 model,
which I've done. Heating tools.
Yeah, heating tools. Glass remover. They have a soft pad for removing moldings. So
really?
There's a lot of stuff. And if you go to Beta Innovations website, you can look them all up. For those of you going to SEMA, Beta Innovations normally has a booth there, and they've got their catalog full of parts. That's why I knew all of that stuff was available.
Oh.
And then when mine went bad, I started calling Christina at Anson, and I'm like, "What can you get?" Because I knew they were able to sell. And it's like, okay, well, they called Beta Innovations, and it's like, look, for your model, this is it. This is all you get.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are going to SEMA, hit us up. Let us know you're going to be there.
Dude, there's a lot of people going to SEMA this year. I mean, I should have kept track, because, I mean, everyone's like, hey, let's hook up. Let's go get a drink. Go get a drink. I probably have 15 people that I'm going to go get a drink with, and probably only be able to meet up with 2 of them.
Right.
Eric, Dustin, and Damon from Mobile Tech RX will be there.
Well, I don't want to see those guys. I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
Damon usually has good whiskey on him, so I'll definitely track him down.
Yep.
Well, cool. Anything else you guys want to touch on? We're nearing the end of our podcast here.
Yeah, I think
that's a good conclusion.
It.
Yeah. Okay. Well, don't forget to go to pdrtooltime.com and click on Edgy Tools and get over there and get some Edgy Tools and get that 15% discount. Magnatech mat is on sale for actually Ultra is running a sale. So if you're buying Ultra tools this month, go ahead and get a Magnatech mat. They have it on sale for $99 or $98. $1 cheaper than what I sell it for. And plus you probably get better shipping.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they got a bunch of other stuff on sale, don't they? Aren't they doing like a Halloween sale?
Yeah, they're doing a Halloween sale, all sorts of stuff all month long. It's kind of scary for Halloween.
Yeah. And if take all your old tools, send them to Ultra and get them new T handles on them. Get your tool truck. Have you been seeing some of the rigs, and everybody's going to that style and doing drawers and finally be able to organize your tools. Mike style.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That brings us to another closing. Another one's in the can. And don't forget to level up your tools.
And don't do stupid stuff.
And I still got to come up with something. This has been another episode of PDR Tool Time.